Howdy, y'all. Hold on for a second. Fixing my light here. Always something gotta be happening every time. But that'll do. But I had to come on here tonight, y'all, because I just feel vindicated because I was called a conspiracy theorist when I said this, even though I knew it was happening in other countries, and it just made logical sense that it would happen here. Let me position my crown. But New York officially has a law that will allow quarantine camps in New York State. So for those of you who don't believe me, you can go and read the bill yourself and thank Governor Hatchell and what's that other child's name? Letitia James for this. If you don't believe me, you can go look it up for yourself. It's a public health regulation that she made into law. You know, she bypassed the legislation. Lawyers fought against this when she made this into a law, and it was appealed, and then it went to court, and they lost an appeal. So that means that you will now be able to have quarantine camps where they can come and drag your ass out your house and lock you up and put you in a facility if they feel to need to. And anytime they can, doesn't even have to be a public health emergency, they can say that it's time to go. Let's go. We're going to put you in this facility and you'll stay here for as long as we need you to be here. And you have to take any medical products that we put on you. And it's so fierce and it's so much I want to show you. But first, like this page, share and subscribe. I have lots of good information for you always on here. So please like, comment, and try to get the algorithm going for me. I really appreciate it. My spirit just would not let me rest today. I had to go ride my bike and clear my mind because I just couldn't believe that a judge would overturn what they have done. These are some wicked ass people. I have some other stuff to tell you that they snuck past you guys. Go look this up. It's barely a story. It's barely a story. Democrat news is not reporting it. Mainstream media is not reporting it. I mean, the independent media is barely reported because it just happened, but this is some real shit right here. And you guys in New York should be afraid of all the stuff that they have in store. Like, I am not even sure of the agenda that they have for New York, but it's clear that they are trying to destroy the city. And this just goes back to the point that I kept trying to tell y'all all these years, that Democrats are for just destroying democracy. Democrats have always been for taking away your rights and enslaving you and doing all that like they did to us. Just remember that it was Republicans that got us out of slavery. We got the right to vote with them. They helped us. Most of the all the abolitionists were Republican, and a lot of white people helped with us to get us out of slavery. So you guys just got to research. That's a different story for a different day. But I'm just trying to get you to see that these people are not for you. Any policy like this, it's going to affect Black people the most, because Black people are the most to resist the government. They're the most to resist the vaccine. Black people took the vaccine the least outside of PhDs. So PhDs knew something was wrong, and Black people knew something was wrong because we didn't take it. But however, that means we lost our jobs the most, and that means that we are going to suffer the most when they put something like this into effect, because they see that you're not taking a mandated vaccine, or they just decide, oh, let's get her off the streets. Let's just go and say that she has something and just take her away, because this law that she made is even worse than the bill that they tried to pass for the last 4 sessions. They've been trying to pass this as a bill for the last 4 sessions, and they could not do it. Nobody wanted to vote on this, and it never got through. And then she found a way to circumvent, the legislature to get this passed. I'm going to show you my video that I just did last week, because I was talking about why I left New York, and that was the reason why, because I heard them talking about that they were going to make some COVID camp bill, or they were going to make some COVID camps. I kind of thought it was conspiracy at first, until there's the bill right on the New York State Assembly. You can go look at it, Bill A416, and read it all you want. But what they actually got passed as law is worse than the bill. I thought the bill was bad. All right, let me just show you a little bit of my video just so you know that this really does exist. And I'm going to show you the lawyer and she's going to break it down for you what it really means. But I'm just going to show you, let me share my screen. I'm just going to show you what I just posted last week. Like, I can't even believe that a judge would overturn that. It's unbelievable. It's so unconstitutional. It's so vague, and it's just a hot ass mess. And y'all need to get these people out of office. I mean, it's too late now. I mean, you know, she's in there. And ain't nothing you could do about it. Letitia James, she's in there. They should have been voted out in November, but they weren't. You know, Democrats, most liberal people, they're so stuck and they just don't ever research anything. They believe what they're told. They don't know history, and they don't really pay attention and really follow the agendas and look at the bills and laws they're passing that work against your ass. Okay, let me show you this. All right, check this out. Just so you can see that this bill really does exist, because I'm showing it on my screen. I'm reading it to the people and telling them what it is. Hold on one second. A4116. Oh, it's Bill A1416. It's a public health bill. This is some crazy shit, y'all. I had to come on here and talk about this because this is unbelievable what they're doing in New York. Yes, this one is it. Here we go. Let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. Present. Look at this. This is a real bill that they tried to pass 4 times and they couldn't get it. Here it is. 2021. This is the last time that they put this bill, that they proposed this bill. Now, this is real shit. I'm telling you, when I heard this, I thought it was a lie. I heard about this bill around the same time I told you everybody's acting crazy, telling me they hope I die, and everybody's running around, you know, fighting with their family members that didn't take the vaccine, and everybody's foaming at the mouth because you don't have it, and you go to work and people trying to get you fired, and they treat you with racism because you didn't take the vaccine. So this is around the time I saw this bill, but I didn't believe it, so I didn't read it. So you see right here, versions of this were introduced in 2015-16 session, 2017-18, 2019, 2020. And it was also done again in 2021, but it wasn't done for this session. I thought that, hey, we won, you know what I'm saying? You know, it was exposed, but no. Happily that they didn't propose it this year, because I guess they didn't propose it because they found a way around that shit. And they just did it. She just made it a law. She just did it. It was unconstitutional. A judge said it was unconstitutional. They appealed it and they got some judge to find in their favor. That's some bullshit, y'all. That's what you're dealing with in New York. They are some corrupt ass people over there. You know, the cat got out of the bag during COVID, because like I told you, I remember House Show talking about it and say, oh, it's not a bill, you know, to lock people up, you know, it's just for public health safety, and, you know, try to downplay it. And I guess the people, mostly the conservative people, you have to thank them for this not going. Yes, you do, because it's all conservative people that took their own fucking money for free and went to court against Governor Hochul and Letitia James. And they won. And this particular lawyer, I'm going to let you see her later. She said no lawyers wanted to help her fight. But see, now, hopefully them same lawyers end up in one of these camps going through, because COVID was their real opportunity to get this through. And they just blew it up so much, the independent media, which a lot of people, you know, the mainstream media would like you to think that independent media are all conservatives and right-wing Republicans and all that, and they're just not. They're just journalists that want to report the fucking true news. So just look for yourself. And I like watching their news because they know that they're going to get challenged. So they have really, really good receipts. Now look at this. You can see what it says, okay? And they got pop-ups over this page. But you can go Google this your damn self on the New York Senate and see that this New York bill. I definitely advise y'all to go and read this bill word for word. You will be gagging and you will be on the floor and you will not believe what this says. It is crazy. Go and read it. If you live in New York, go and read it, because I guarantee you something is going to come for your ass out there. They have some type of reason why they keep wanting to press this quarantine camps. So now I don't know about y'all, but if you haven't seen what they did to the people in China, and we have become a total communist nation, you know what I'm saying? If you haven't seen what they did in China and Australia and New Zealand, you are in for a shock. I'm telling you. They built some type of camp out there in Brooklyn somewhere. The migrants didn't even want to stay there. Migrants get to stay in hotels. That's going to be for us. Well, for y'all, because I don't live in New York no more. But I have all the people I love live in New York, and I want y'all to please listen to me. Everybody says, "Oh, Shellie's a conspiracy theorist." No, I'm not. Everything I said have been right the whole time, and I'm going to be right this time. Something crazy is about to happen in New York. Y'all better prepare for it, and you better listen what I'm telling y'all. Bill that they tried to pass 4 times. No, three times they tried to pass this before COVID. And I feel like this is going to come back again, because this is just an easy way to take away people's rights without due process. So I'm going to stop sharing this, because I want you to hear what the lawyer is going to say about this. Because this is unbelievable. What they actually are going to do is so much worse than that bill. Like I just can't even believe that a judge will overturn that. What is the reason why they need something like this? Why are they trying so hard to get this passed? They've been trying to get this passed for years, before COVID, for years. It's like, and nobody will touch it. No politicians really want to touch this bill, and they figured out a way. And they didn't really figure out a way. They just said, fuck it, we're going to make it a law, and it is what it is, and we don't care if it's unconstitutional. But that is what Democrats do. For as much as y'all hate the patriots, which I don't understand why anybody would hate a patriot, because a patriot is a person that just loves their country. They're a nationalist. They like their nation. They're for America. They're willing to die for this country. Unlike most of us, you understand what I'm saying? And they are the ones that fight for the Constitution. Those are the people that, really keep the Constitution intact, where Democrats, as you can see, are not for America. They are part of a globalist agenda, and they're controlled and run by globalists. And their idea is to, control all the resources of the world. And that's why all of our money leaves America, because America is not important. Their interests all across the world is what is important. You really got to pay attention to these people. It's going to get crazy out here. Okay. Listen to this lawyer as she explains, what was going on. Hold on. This is just ridiculous to me. Let me see. Which one do I want to show you first? Okay. Let me just pick this one, because it really doesn't matter. Okay, listen to this. She's gonna break it down for y'all what this really means, and what this is. This was in January. Not in January, but it was before, when they won for the initial case. They won. The judge was like, yes, it's completely unconstitutional, and he said they were not allowed to do this to the New Yorkers. And then they had the nerve to appeal it, child.
Well, first we got Bobby Cox, who everybody's looking forward to meeting.
It's like, listen to what they doing to y'all here. Look what they about to do.
Hi everybody, thanks for coming. My name is Bobby Ann Cox. I'm an attorney here in New York. I've been practicing for about 25 years. So most of you know me because I recently sued Governor Kathy Hochul over her quarantine plan.
I love this lady because she was just a random person. She wasn't even a lawyer that does this kind of law, but she found out about it and was like, this is crazy. We can't allow this to happen. And she tried to get people to help her sue, and no other lawyers wanted to do it. And she did it on her own. So God bless this sister.
And I won. So as of July 8th, Hochul and her Department of Health cannot issue you a quarantine or isolation order, and they cannot lock you down in your home, and they cannot lock you up in a facility. Because
this the part that kills me. You can lock me up and put me in my house all you want to. The part that fucked me up was the part that they can put you in a facility or a camp or wherever they want to put you at. You don't have nothing to say. They can have the cops come and get your ass and everything. Listen to what she's about to tell you.
July 8th, that's when the judge ruled in our favor. So before he ruled in our favor, I'm just gonna let you know what that regulation said. This was not a law, this was a regulation that she passed through her Department of Health, which means she went around the legislature, which was completely illegal, and she made a law through the.
So if you guys don't understand how the law works, that's supposed to get voted on by our legislature, and she just bypassed them. They didn't want it for many years, and she just bypassed them and just was like, fuck y'all, I'm gonna do it anyway. This is insane. But this is what Democrats are doing all over America. This is what they're doing. And you guys are not paying attention.
Department of Health. Okay, they called it a regulation, but really it was a law. And what that regulation said was,
what did she say? It's a law. It's the law now. They are within the law to come to your house and take you out by the police and put you into a facility till they decide to let you out. They can say you're sick with anything. It doesn't even have to be a public health emergency. Pay attention, please.
That the Department of Health could pick and choose which New Yorkers they could lock up or lock down. They could lock you up in your home for an indefinite amount of time. They could take you from your home. They could put you into a detention center, a facility, a camp, whatever you want to call it, for however long they wanted. They didn't have to show proof that you had a communicable disease. They didn't have to show proof that you were exposed to a communicable disease. They just had to think, maybe you were, maybe you weren't, and they could lock you up or lock you down. They could do this to you.
That's why I say this is way worse than the actual bill. When you read that bill, this is 100 times worse. I haven't read the regulation, but I have the number. I'll put it in the description later.
They could do this to your child. They could do this to your grandchild. They could do this to your elderly grandparent. There was no restriction on age. There was no restriction on time frame, days, weeks, months, years. They could have done it however long they wanted. They could have used local law enforcement to enforce their order. So you could have gotten a knock on your door, removing you or your child from your home.
And forget about that. They could lock up your whole entire job. They could lock up a whole group of people at an event or whatever. It's so vague, and it has language in there that talks about groups.
Okay, for however long they wanted. Okay, they also put in there that they could issue fines. They could have criminal penalties if you didn't abide by their decree. The regulation was the most unconstitutional thing I have ever read.
It really is.
So I'm not a constitutional law attorney, or at least I wasn't until I brought this lawsuit. I was a property tax certiorari attorney. So I was suing local government. I was suing towns and cities and villages and counties for improper and overreaching assessments on properties, right? And when I read this regulation, I said, no way, not happening. There's no way I can let this stand. And so I reached out to some colleagues. Hey guys, we got to do this. We got to strike this down. Nobody wanted any part of it. They didn't want to work for free because I'm doing the case pro.
But you see that people had the power to stop these people, and like they're doing stuff like this all over the country. But New York, for some reason, they're going hard. I'm going to tell you about some other bills they passed. If you Google this right now, you'll barely see anything in mainstream media about this. But this is the biggest thing to ever happen to a state. Everybody's worried throughout the whole country now, because if a state like New York could get something like this, any state could get it, or every state could get it. It's insane.
Pro bono, I'm not getting paid. Who didn't want to work for free? Who didn't want to put the time in? Because there was no other lawsuit in the entire country like this one. There was no other lawsuit fighting against quarantine camps in the United States of America. So it took a lot of time, a lot of research. It took me months to get this case ready. And then I had to get New York State legislators to come on the case with me, because I knew I would get.
Pay attention, y'all. I'm about to research these people that helped her do this, because it wasn't that many. Nobody wanted to get involved in this, and I don't know why. It's crazy to me, because injustice for one is injustice for all. And just never forget that. Martin Luther King said that. Because today you think you good, and then tomorrow your ass going to be affected by the same thing that you thought you were good with. You might not have a complaint today. You might be all good. You might have got your vaccine. You don't care. What if you don't want the next vaccine? Your ass going to end up in one of these camps.
Get knocked out of court for standing. Standing just means you have an injury. You have a right to bring the lawsuit. So I knew I had to get New York State legislators to believe in the case and put their name on it. And that took me quite some time as well. But ultimately, I got Senator George Borrello, I got Assemblyman Chris Tague, I got Assemblyman Mike Lawler. I then had an amicus brief that was written by another group of New York State legislators, a fabulous amicus brief written by Assemblyman Andy Goodell and joined by Assemblyman Joseph Giglio and Assemblyman Will Barkley. And
I never heard of none of those people, but I'm about to find out.
Her Department of Health, she can no longer lock people up in quarantine. She can no longer lock you down in your house. And I will tell you that about a week after we won, the Attorney General, Letitia James, filed a notice of appeal against me.
Letitia James, black people that y'all voted for probably just because she was black and you didn't even try to figure out who she's with. You know, these are all Soros people. This is going to work against y'all the most, guaranteed, because whatever the next sickness they say is the one, and you don't want to take the vaccines and you don't want to, you know, they can just say, oh, well, the whole hood is, you know, contagious. They don't take the vaccine. Go get all of the people in this neighborhood or whatever. I'm telling you, it could be that big of a deal because it has language that talks about locking up groups. Y'all better stop playing with me, please.
God. So this is very little known information because they don't want you to know about it. They didn't want you to know about the quarantine camp regulation, and they certainly don't want you to know that now they're going to appeal it. And my guess is that they're waiting until right after the election.
I had no idea that when I saw that the bill wasn't on for this session, I was like, oh, great. That means, you know, that everybody found out about it and maybe they didn't put it on because they don't want that scar on them for election or whatever. I was like, that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? I didn't vote for them. I voted for that guy. What's his name? Zell, whatever. I can't remember his name now. Oh my God, it's terrible. I'm having a brain fart. But anyway, I voted for him because he was against all that vaccine stuff. And, you know, so I didn't vote for any of those people, you know, and look what they're doing. Look what they are doing. Letitia James should be ashamed of her damn self because she's really socking it to her own people because that's the people that's going to be the most affected by this. And y'all are so stupid. If you don't get these people out of office out there and stop playing around and really pay attention to these people and hold them to task for this right here.
Do it. Okay. So this election is monumental. I know.
Now, this was last year. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. This was last year, like right before election time, that all this had happened. And it just was completely under the radar. Nobody knew nothing about it. These, God, what is that guy's name? Why can't I think of his name that ran against Housel? And I voted for him. Now, you know, that's a damn shame. But anyway, Zell something. I forget. Anyway, but, you know, the fact that this is so under the radar and that mainstream media is not reporting it is very deep, you know, and Letitia James tries to act like she didn't know nothing about this. You understand? They're liars. They cannot be trusted. I can't even believe another black person would do this because I guarantee it's going to be black people most of the time that would be affected by something like this because we just do not trust the medical community. We do not trust, you know, law enforcement and stuff like that. So, you know, they know that we're going to be the main ones to be locked up in there, you know. I mean, I feel like more and more people are waking up, but like, why are they fighting for something like this? Why are they fighting for this? I mean, they really are fighting for this. A judge said that it was unconstitutional and they fought for this. And Letitia James actually took her ass into court with this bullshit. I just, you know, these are some wicked ass people. Let me show you this other video of what this lawyer was saying. Because this is a trip. This is a whole entire trip. Look at this. I just can't even believe this. I just can't even believe that this got passed. And you guys should be concerned and worried about what the hell's going on. I just feel like it's just going to be like that movie Escape from New York. It'll just be a prison state, and it'll just be a place where they send all of the people that they don't want in other parts of the nation and just send them to New York. It's crazy. And meanwhile, they make all of these sanctions against the people, you know, and they spend so much money, you know, they spent lots of money to go to court for this, you know, to be against the American people. You know, they spent tons of money to lock up the people for January 6th. They spent tons of money. Oh, there's all kinds of scandal coming out with that now because they got the videos and showed that they were lying, making up videos, filming fake stuff. And that the police, the Capitol Police incited that, and they had all kind of moles out there. It's a mess. You know, these people are willing to do anything they have to do to stay in power because they know they are exposed. They know that majority of the people don't want them. So now they just gonna go hard with all of these tactics. You know, it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Let me share this right quick. Here we go. It's my girl right here. Listen to what she's saying, y'all. Look at this right here. Y'all don't believe that they'll make a quarantine camp? They did it in China. They did it in Australia. Look at this. Look what they're saying. Read what that says. Australia considers new COVID-19 quarantine strategy. Lock your ass up. Look at that. Quarantine facilities. Look at that. That's how you're going to be. Listen to me. They just put one like this in Brooklyn. They sent the migrants out there, and the migrants didn't want to stay there. There's nobody staying there. That's why I know this is bullshit. That is not for migrants. That is for Americans when they go off over some crazy shit they about to do in New York, and that's where your ass is going to be, up in there. They have one in Brooklyn that looks just like that. Stop playing. Y'all better go do the research if you can find it on Google. You can't Google anything because those are Democrat globalists run search engine. You got to get a private search engine and try to search out things, or you'll never get anything. Look at that. Look at that. Dragging the man outside. That's in China, I think. They were locking people up, and you would be in like a little cubicle for weeks or until they tell you can come out. It's crazy. Look at that. Look at that. China builds those. Look at that. They have those here, but it's always going to be under the radar. Mainstream media is not going to report it. Y'all can keep on playing if you want to.
My name is Curtis Koss, and I'm speaking to you about our event tonight on the New York.
I advise y'all to watch this because this is from last year, but a lot of activists speak on here, and it's just so unbelievable, and it just will confirm everything that I'm telling you, and it'll just give you a greater perspective on what's going on in the world, because some people are stuck on stupid and they're just in their own little bubble, all locked off from the rest of the world, and they watch mainstream news and they're just like in la la land. You know, they're super liberal and they're stuck on stupid. They think they're woke, but they have no discernment. Watch this one right here. This is like a few hours long, but I watched the whole thing, and it was a lot of good information in here and a lot of good people that spoke, and God bless the people on here, because if it wasn't for these people, I mean, they tried. I mean, it got overturned.
New York quarantine camps on trial. I think this is probably one of the most serious issues facing New York State
The most
and
serious
the
thing I've
country,
ever seen.
especially since there's an election coming up on November 8th, in which Governor Kathy Hochul and Attorney General Letitia James will be running for re-election. And both of them have been pushing these quarantine.
And they won because liberals in New York are stuck on stupid, and they just vote Democrat across the board. They never question. They don't know nothing about these people. They just vote for them. I've long been done with that from Obama's. After when Obama first got elected, after I saw what he was into and I started seeing all the stuff he was doing, I was done with Democrats after that. So it's been a long time for me since I've been woke up to these damn people, you know. And then before that, I wasn't really voting at all because I didn't really trust none of the people. But now it's like I feel like I can't break my neck hard enough to vote against these people.
Camps. We're going to have a lineup of fantastic speakers who are going to cover this issue. Most people don't know about it, and that's not by accident. I mean, the mainstream news media has not been informing you.
And what kills me about dumbass liberals, and I'm sorry if anybody's offended, but this is just how I feel. They'll call you a conspiracy theorist, just like my union president called me conspiracy. Half the people at my local call me conspiracy theorist. And then what end up happening? Myocarditis label on COVID vaccines, but I fucking tried to tell y'all, but no. Instead of thinking people are conspiracy theorists, why don't you go out your way to prove them wrong? Because that's how I end up finding out most of the stuff that I find out, because some of it's so outlandish, I don't even believe it. And I'm like, that can't be true. Let me just go down this rabbit hole to see, so I can go back and tell this person how stupid they are and they don't know what they're talking about. And sure enough, there it is. There it is. Y'all better stop playing.
And as election nears, we haven't heard much from Governor Kathy Hochul or Letitia James on this issue. So we're going to make sure you're informed on the quarantine and related issues before the election on November 8th. This event is sponsored by the People's Farmer Movement. And I do want to say that the views expressed here by myself and the others are the views of the individuals and not of any group or organization unless the individual specifies otherwise. And with that, I would like to move on to our first speaker. The speakers pretty much will be introducing themselves in detail, but I do want to say that it's an honor and a privilege to have our first speaker, which is Bobby Ann Cox, the woman who defeated the quarantine camp regulation. And even though
I want y'all to see this. She's going to say some of the same things that she said, but what she's really going to get into is how Governor Hochul was able to bypass the legislature to get this passed, and how it all came to be that they started fighting for this this right to lock you up.
Defeated the Supreme Court, as you're going to hear, the governor and attorney general vowed that basically if they're reelected, they're going to push for quarantine camps in New York State. So we're going to find out, what does that mean for New York State? What does that mean for each individual New Yorker? And what does it potentially mean for all of America? With that, Bobby Ann Cox.
Thank you, Curtis. Yes, so I would like to first just let everybody know, this quarantine camp regulation, which the governor had created and pushed through the Department of Health, was completely unconstitutional, completely illegal. And so, excuse me, my background on how I got involved is just that, I'm an attorney here in New York for about 25 years now. And since COVID hit in March of 2020, I've been very on top of what's going on with the government and the various ways that they have been infringing on our constitutional rights in the name of, public health and safety. So yes, of course, everybody wants to be healthy. Everybody wants to be safe. Nobody wants to harm their neighbors. However, the government must act within the confines of the Constitution, even when it's an emergency.
Now, I know most of y'all don't even know what the Constitution says. You don't know what your rights are. You don't know nothing about the Bill of Rights. You don't know nothing about legislation. You don't know nothing about civics, nothing at all. But I suggest you learn, because these people got to go, and you have to pay attention what's going on, because you're just losing your rights day by day. We're just losing all of our rights. And it's not just in New York. They got some crazy laws out here in New Jersey too, regarding kids and stuff like that. So it's like, if people pay more attention to politicians and pay more attention to what is really going on and what bills are getting passed and stuff, so much shit is under the radar that we don't know that they pass every day. We have to pay better attention, y'all.
See, the United States Supreme Court has spoken on this topic multiple times, and they have ruled time and again that the Constitution is not suspended during a time of emergency. In fact, the Constitution is needed more than ever during a time of an emergency.
And see, a lot of people don't know that, and they voluntarily give up their rights like a dummy, and then that's how they get you.
Because during emergency is when the government, it's much more easy for the government to overreach, overstep, and infringe upon the rights of the United States citizens. Mm-hmm. So let's get into the quarantine camp regulation. It was 10 NYC.
So just keep in mind that this is from like after they won and they find out that they're going to appeal. So just know that everything that she's saying here is now the law.
RR 2.13. Governor Hochul issued this regulation through her Department of Health. What I mean by that is that they did not go through the legislature. In New York State, as on the federal level, the legislature is the lawmaking body. So here in New York, our New York State senators, together with our New York State Assembly members, that is our legislature. That is who is supposed to make law. What Kathy Hochul did was she made this regulation. It went through her Department of Health. They completely bypassed the legislature. There was no vote from the legislature on this. There was no vote by the citizens on this. So how did they get this? Well, it's about 7 years ago. Then Nick Perry, who was an assemblyman at the time, for 7 years, from 2015 through 2021, he was an assemblyman, and he kept proposing a bill, which was very similar to this regulation. The bill was, in essence, giving the power to the governor and the Department of Health to lock up New Yorkers with just a suspicion that you were exposed to a communicable disease.
Now, this is the fierce part. Anybody could just call the Department of Health and say you got some shit, or they think that your family's contagious with something, or that they saw you and you're sick with something, or they overheard. And then that right there, all they need to have is like a reasonable reason to think you got something, and here they come.
No proof needed. And they could have locked you up in a facility, or they could have locked you down in your house, no time limits, so on and so on. That bill that was being proposed by Nick Perry for 7 years never became a law. It had no backing whatsoever in the New York.
That bill A416, you could go read it. That's what they're talking about. They've been trying to propose that for the longest time, and nobody will touch it. And they found a way to circumvent right around it.
New York State Assembly or in the New York State Senate. No other legislators in Albany would back that bill. So it failed completely. And ultimately, Assemblyman Perry withdrew that bill from consideration altogether. Now, what do we see? Kathy Hochul takes pretty much that same language, changes it a little bit.
Woo, child. Read that bill and just know that what she actually did is even worse.
And pushes it through the Department of Health as a regulation. So we see that we had something that was failing miserably in the New York State Assembly. The governor takes it, makes it a regulation, and now everybody is subject to this regulation. So what happened was, when I became aware of this, I said, okay, I'm going to sue the governor, try and strike this down. I knew that I had to have some standing with New York State legislators, because that's who was being injured from the start with this. So Senator George Borrello, Assemblyman Chris Tague, and Assemblyman Mike Lawler agreed to come on the lawsuit together with a citizens group called Uniting New York State. And together we sued Kathy Hochul and her Department of Health, her Commissioner of Health, and the Health Planning Council. We filed the lawsuit in April, and almost immediately they removed the case to federal court. They tried to get it thrown out of state court. They pulled it up. We had to fight to get back into state court.
So look, they were trying to give this lawyer to run around. They were trying to, do everything they could to, throw her off. But, she stuck with it.
Which we won that argument. We were sent back to state court. Next thing you know, the governor and the attorney general.
But isn't that interesting? They tried to get it in federal court because they knew if they got it in federal court, it would just get shot down because, that's the cronies.
They take the case and they start fighting again about the amicus brief. We had a wonderful amicus brief that was written by another group of New York State legislators, Assemblyman Andy Goodell, Assemblyman Joseph Giglio, and Assemblyman Will Barkley. The amicus brief was in favor of our case, and it was brilliant. Of course, the attorney general and the governor tried to keep it out of court so that the judge wouldn't be allowed to read it. Ultimately, we had to go back and forth and fight motion practice, and we won that motion. The amicus brief was allowed into court. So in July, on the 8th of July, the judge ruled in our favor. He struck down the regulation. He said it's unconstitutional, it's illegal, you cannot do this. The governor does not have the power with her Department of Health to make this regulation. It conflicts not only with the Constitution, but it conflicts with existing New York State law.
Now, this is where the people in New York should be furious, because you have people out there that are taking your rights away, and they are just a dictatorship. And you should not just sit for that. And I feel that there's safety and power in numbers, and people need to be aware. You need to share this. I really don't want no smoke. You know what I'm saying? But I have to say something because it's fucked up. People need to really pay attention and do something. I mean, I don't even know what you're going to do. I'm not really sure yet if they can go any further with this. I don't know what's going to happen. This is just unbelievable to me.
We already have law in New York. For 70 years, we've had this law, and it says what you do when you need to quarantine someone if they are a public health threat. The difference between that law that we've had for 70 years and this regulation was that the regulation had no due process protections. So according to the regulation, the Department of Health could lock you up or lock you down wherever they wanted. They could have done this to you in your home. They could have taken you from your home and put you into a facility of their choosing. They could have kept you there for however long they wanted. days, weeks, months. There was no restriction. They could have done this to you. They could have done this to your child, to your grandchild, to your elderly parent. There was no restriction on age. They could tell you what you could.
And I just have to let you know that this whole situation, it wasn't not one Republican involved in this. It's all the Republicans that want to fight to get rid of it. It was all Democrats. All of these horrible bills that I'm about to tell you about another one. All Democrats. Just remember that. So when you're all stuck on stupid, going to vote for these people, just remember you're voting against your own interest.
Could and couldn't do while you were in lockdown or in quarantine. So if you think about that language, it's really broad. They could have told you, sorry, no cell phone. They could have cut off your internet access. They could have told you what you could and couldn't eat.
To me, that's worse than going to prison, because at least if you go to prison, you're going to get a release date. I mean, this is like when you get locked up for like mental illness or something, and you stay in there until a doctor says you can go away. And then while you're in there, they just drug you half to death and give you whatever. You got to take whatever medicine they give you and stuff like that. It's crazy.
They could have told you what medications you could take or couldn't take or had to take. It was very broad language. And there was no provision in that regulation on how you got out of quarantine.
There you go. They make a law and make a regulation that doesn't say anywhere in there how the fuck you get out. You get out when they say you get out. Or like she said, Letitia James, oh, I guess you just got to go to court and sue. What kind of shit is that? You get up in there and there's really no way for you to get out?
Quarantine.
Child, y'all better stop playing with me. Please stop.
And I'll give an example of what that means. When we were having oral arguments in front of the judge asked the Attorney General's office, if you take a family and you put them into isolation, let's say you put them into a facility or a hospital, how do they get out? And the Attorney General's response was,
Letitia James.
I guess that they could hire a lawyer and sue.
Hire a lawyer. Who's going to hire a lawyer? Who has money to hire a lawyer, especially after COVID and everybody's fucking broke, especially after strikes and everything's broke. They done crashed the economy. You got 9 million immigrants and stuff everywhere. Who has money to go get a lawyer and sue for something like this? And while you're in there, you have to have some people on the outside that's able to help you. What if you don't have that? And whatever lawyer they give you is going to be some, court appointed lawyer. Read that bill, because it explains. And I'm not really sure how the regulations that she has speak, but if you read the bill, you'll get an understanding of what they're talking about. Like, they could just leave you in there indefinitely. You could be in there for 3 months before anything is done. I know that bill said that. I know it said that. Your ass could be 3 months. What you in there for 3 months for an illness? And then some of the illnesses that they have on there. But wait. I'm gonna stop. Let me see what else she's gonna say, and I'm gonna show you this. This is insane.
So that's a clear example of how this regulation had no protections for the citizens.
None.
Our Constitution says that every law and regulations too need to have due process protections built into them so that the government can't overreach and abuse their power.
Hello, the whole Constitution was written to protect people from the freaking government. Y'all better go talk to them patriots, and y'all better go listen to some independent media, and y'all better go listen to some Republicans and ask them some questions, because you can talk to them, because they ain't going to be foaming at the mouth and falling out and screaming and crying in your face like liberals do. Go read about it. Go see. And you're going to see. You will freaking see who protects the Constitution and your rights in America, and who doesn't, and who takes your rights away. Y'all going to learn today.
Power and hurt the citizens. But this regulation created by Kathy Hochul and her Department of Health had no due process protections. It gave them complete totalitarian control over the citizens of New York whenever they wanted. It didn't even have to be an emergency for them to do this.
Now listen to that. It doesn't even have to be a public health emergency. They can just come for any reason and come for your ass and put you in there, and you could be in there for months before any due process or anything happens to you. And you have to sue to get out. It's a crazy, unbelievable. I cannot believe this is happening in America. America is dead. Like, just, it's nothing that I remember of my youth. It's just like, it's like China. It's oh my God. It's just awful. I mean, our nation is not a place, at least it wasn't a place like this. You have to remember that Democrats take away the law, take away and want to dismantle the Constitution because they are globalists and they want to come with a new world order and a new way of doing things. Can y'all please pay attention? That's what they do. Republicans, they want to be private citizens, minding their business and keep the Constitution. Now, don't get me wrong. There's rhinos and there are Republicans that are corrupted too. And they're also part of the globalist movement and they're snuck in there. And there's really not that many people that are left in Congress and stuff like that that are not like part of this globalist agenda. But the ones that do, like the people in this video, if you watch this one, and it has all these different activists, they are just regular people of all walks of life, all races of people from all over America that's trying to keep everybody's rights. And y'all dumbass people are taught to resist this, and you're stupid. I'm just telling you, you're being stupid. You really need to look at this because all of these things work against us. Unless you're happy to have your rights taken away, and unless you're happy to have the government forcing medical products on you left and right and locking you up when you don't do what they say, unless you're happy to have no control over your children, right? And the government really are the parents, you're an idiot. If you like that and you want to lose control of your children and you want to be locked up in camps and you want people to force products on you and close your businesses down and you don't have no rights, then keep voting for these people. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Because I'll tell you what, I've been researching for the longest time where I can go to get the hell out of the United States because this is not going to end well over here.
Furthermore, I want to point out that this regulation was not COVID specific. So the regulation could have.
Okay, so y'all can watch this later when you feel like it, but just let me show you this right here. This is just unbelievable to me. I mean, these people have got to go. They got to go. And I don't even think you can vote them out anymore. It's like nothing else that you could do. You know what I'm saying? It's like really nothing you could do. They're there. And what are you going to do? Look at this. I just want to show you this disease list because this is a hot ass mess, child. I have it on this paper so I can see it. It's the same thing right there, but I put it on this paper so I can see it. But one of my friends pointed out to me that she has Lyme disease. Well, Lyme disease is one of the shit on here that they can, come and get you for. This is the Department of Health, their communicable disease reporting requirements. I guess I could call and say, oh, such and such has, Lyme disease, or, what else is on here? What else was on here that was kind of shocking? I could say anybody has any STD, tetanus, whatever, and they might come and get your ass. Okay. So the reality is that this is something that you guys cannot sleep on. You got to wake up at this point because this is crazy. It's crazy. If you can't see that this country has been infiltrated by, European elites, corporations that want to control all of the resources of the whole entire world, that's why globalists, you can always tell globalist politicians because they don't care about you. They care about what's going on in another nation because their interests are all over the world. Their interests are not here, obviously, in America, because they let America completely deteriorate. There's the military's all dismantled and messed up here. They let a whole bunch of migrants come here. It's like they want to destroy this country on purpose. I don't understand it. I still don't understand why they want to do that unless they just want to make it a prison state like Australia used to be. I don't know. It's very, very frightening, and y'all need to stop playing because it's just off the chain. Now, before I go, I just want to show y'all this other thing because this was bugging me out too, because this is another thing that they slipped under the radar. And liberals are so silly because they're like, yay, I'm for everything. I'm for everything. I'm for everything. Until they actually sit down and actually read something, because I don't think y'all read anything and don't really understand anything ahead of time. You just do it. I wanted you guys to see this. Let me just check because I want you guys to see this other bill. Because hold on, what is this? That's not it. Hold on. I might have to go on my email because I got to show you this. Okay, I'm going to go on my email real quick and show y'all this because this blew me away too. Hold on. Because you guys, this is off the chain. This is really crazy. And you know, people could call me a conspiracy theorist all they want, but I just sent you the bill so you could read it. Look at this one right here, y'all. This one I couldn't believe to either. And if you watch those videos, the video that I sent you that I'm gonna post in my post for you guys, the one with all of the activists talking, watch that one because they explain this one in detail. Let me see. Let me see. All right, let me share my screen because this right here blew me away too. Okay. New York State Assembly Bill A9963. What does it say? What does it say? Relates to authorizing certain minors to consent to medical, dental, mental health, or hospital services. Now, I haven't read this bill in full, but I did listen to the one that I showed you, the Substack that we watched with the lawyer where she had the white on and the black guy was open and talking. Watch that because in that they talk about that in great detail about that. Now, the gag with this is that any minor of any age can say that they want to consent to any medical thing that they want to consent to. Now, I really think that it's probably they created this probably for trans kids. Maybe I'm not really sure, but it applies to anything. They can take a vaccine. They can any medical product. And what fucked me up with this one was that there's no age. A 5-year-old could say that I want to have a medical procedure. And what's fierce about it is that the teachers can't tell you, you know, the doctors can't tell you what medical services they're going to have. The insurance companies are not allowed to tell the parents what procedures they have. But get this, are you sitting down? You still have to pay for it. The parents are still liable to pay for all these procedures, but they're not allowed to know what their kids are doing. And I always tell my son, if somebody's telling you to lie to me, they're trying to hurt you. Why would you pass something? Now, this is how to again. Why would you pass something like this and not have the parents know anything about it and they just have to pay for it and they're not allowed to know anything whatsoever about what this child is doing? Even a child that's a small child that's 5 years old. Go watch what those people were saying about that. That blew me away. You guys can read this bill right here. This is active. This is up there. You understand what I'm saying? It's right there. You could go and read it. It's right here for you to look at. Look at that. Look at that. What does it say? I mean, permitting certain minors to consent to health care treatment. You know, it's a public health law, and it's active. I mean, this is horrifying. And it says any person, including a minor who comprehends the need. So it doesn't have no age. It just says who comprehends the need. Who decides who comprehends the need? That's crazy. The nature of and the reasonably foreseeable risk and benefits involved in any contemplated medical, dental, health, or hospital service, as well as alternatives thereto, may give effective consent thereto for themselves, and the consent of no other person shall be necessary. So they're telling you there's no age on this. Any kid can say that they want to do this. What the hell is going on? And y'all sitting there on your hands, you know, deaf, dumb, and blind, not listening to your friends and family that's trying to warn you about these Democrats there. But I guess you'll learn when they give some health procedure to your kids, or they take your kids away, or they, you know, your kids get, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical procedures and you have to pay for it. And you don't even know what the hell you paying for because insurance companies can't tell you, you know, then I guess you're going to be mad. People always get mad at when it's too late to do anything about it. You understand? And it's messed up because all of these things stay under the radar because they know that the people are stupid and they're not, and they're very indoctrinated and they're very propagandized and they're just like, you know, they trust these people. You guys got to wake up. You can't trust these people no more. You got to have discernment, and you got to really start, paying attention. And, just go on here, go on this site right here, the New York State Senate, and go and read the bills and laws right here. Go read them. They're right there for you to see them, and go read them. Because you can't even Google. Like if you try to Google, unconstitutional bills made, by the government, by the feds, or by, the state the state and all that, you can't even really find it in Google. So you're going to have to do your due diligence. I would definitely say watch independent media. Go on Rumble. You can find stuff on YouTube too, but go on Rumble and just try to Google different things like that, and just start going down a rabbit hole and researching, because there's a lot of stuff out here designed to mess us up. They had something similar to this in New Jersey, but I don't know if it's as intense as this. I know that they had something where the schools are not allowed to tell the parents if the kid has a different name at school and has is trans at school. Like they can't tell the parents that. And I just feel like, if they gonna lie to you, it's like they know something is wrong with it. You understand? Like, a parent should know at all times what they're doing. They're literally taking the rights of the parents away from them. You understand? To me, I feel like there's a better way to handle this. I just don't feel that most parents are against their kids to the point where you have to make something like this. I feel like it's some other reason why they want to do this. They want to have control over the kids. They want to have control over your body. They want to have control over the people. They want to be able to lock you up as easy as possible and take away your rights forever, as easy and cheap as possible. Go learn about the globalist agenda. They are, as far as I'm concerned, New World Order is already in effect. They're already executing it. It's like a change of power right now. You understand? So, it's not really that many people left to fight. You know what I'm saying? They done locked up most of the patriots, the people that will fight for this country. And now it's starting to come out that it was very unjust what they did to the people, and it wasn't an insurrection at all. And they got videos of, the Capitol Police walking them through there, high-fiving them and stuff like that. And, you guys that are all propagandizers are seeing some edited footage, and now the footage is out. I suggest you go look at that. There's so many things that are under the radar that, to me, I feel like the mainstream media, those people should be tried and locked up too, because they are the main reason why they were able to get away with this. And I just feel like this is just so criminal what they are doing, and they're getting away with it. It's like you have a group in power, and they see that a lot of the people don't like them, and they know they probably gonna get voted out of office. A lot of people like Donald Trump. The more they go after him, the more people like him. So it's like backfiring on them, and I feel like they want to stay in power, so they're really willing to do whatever they need to do to keep their position, whether it means lying, stealing, locking people up for no reason, taking away people's rights and stuff like that, scaring the people half to death to giving up their rights and stuff. I mean, they totally did the biggest wealth transfer in the history of the fucking world with COVID. All of those corporations, they got all this money while citizens got nothing and became destitute and everything. People still are voting for it. Like they want more. Like, I just don't get it. I don't really understand it. And like I said, injustice for one is injustice for all. Eventually, something's going to come across the pike that you don't like, and then you're going to wish that you had did something about this. You understand? So y'all better get it together. Y'all really better get it together. I didn't even want to come on here with something this damn negative, but I just couldn't let this day pass because I just got this information today. I really didn't think that it would get appealed, but most of these judges are, bought by globalists, and, these people want to see their agenda come to fruition. Don't get it twisted. They have to war because the military industrial complex is owned by the globalists. So is the prison industrial complex owned by the globalists, pharmaceuticals owned by them. So it's like they're just getting everybody's damn money. They're just getting all the world's money. And then, basically they'll just enslave the people, the useless people, like they keep saying. Like they say, we'll eat the bugs and be happy while they eat steak, flying jets, and drive big ass, giant Mercedes or whatever they're going to drive, and they'll have heat and gas stoves and everything. And we'll be living in some 15-minute city or in some kind of damn quarantine camp somewhere for cheap, eating fake food and stuff like that. So you guys can keep playing if you want to. but it is what it is. And I told you, and just like I warned you before and I was right, I'm warning you now and I'm going to be right again. So, I love y'all. And, the only reason why I risk myself and, risk all the backlash I be getting for speaking out about things is because I do love y'all. And I have a lot of people that I love in New York, and I love New York. New York is my home. I live in New York longer. I mean, I've been in New York for 30 years. I keep thinking like 20 years. Like, no, it's been 30 years I've been in New York. I've lived in New York longer than I lived in my home state. I lived in California too. New York is my home. I love New York. And I hate what happened to New York. I had to get the fuck out of New York. And, I love America, but I'm about to go to Africa or somewhere else because I just don't, my spirit is vexed right now with America, and I don't feel safe here anymore. And neither should you all. And especially brown people, because you're going to be directly affected by this more than anybody. More than anybody. Who do you think who's in prison now, and who do you think is going to be in these damn camps? Immigrants and black people. Get it right. Get it right. Okay, I'm out of here now. I'm going to go and chill out and relax for the rest of the evening because this just pissed me off today. And I'm just hoping that they can, find a way to go back to court and not have some crooked ass judge that's, I mean, I even have to think about what they're doing to Donald Trump. That's why I say injustice for one is injustice for all. Like people like Donald Trump and Alex Jones, they didn't even have juries at their trials. You understand? It's like they just have some crooked ass judge guilty. They already don't like you before you get there guilty. That's going to be you one day too, because I guarantee you eventually you're not going to like something that's going to happen. You're going to be against something that this government does, and you're going to get that same treatment and wish you had done something. Y'all better start watching movies like 1984. Y'all better watch Equilibrium. Y'all better watch some of them old sci-fi movies and see what's going on. I'm telling you, y'all better start reading. Y'all better start looking up these legislations and stop playing, because y'all sitting on y'all hands and y'all are lambs to the slaughter. That's how I see it. All right, so I'm out of here, you guys. I love you, got riled up today, but everybody should be mad about this. Look at Mayor Adams, what he did to New York City. You understand? These are all people. These are all wings of the same bird. They are purposely trying to destroy New York City. It's not by chance. So you guys got to look at that. I was just watching something today. They said the crime is going to be off the hook. They're going to cut the police. Luckily they didn't cut the fire department and all that. But, they're going to make a lot of cuts to the schools, everything. It's the quality of life is going to go down if y'all don't do something about it. You have to save yourself, because none of these damn people that you elected are going to save you. So with that being said, if you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. Even if you don't like it, watch it and tell somebody what you heard here. Do some work. Read something. Read these bills. Read these laws and do something. Get off your ass. Get off social media looking at dumb shit. Do something righteous with your life. Shit. I don't know. I don't even know what else to say to y'all, because this is ridiculous, and I know that people just vote across the board, but stop watching mainstream news. I haven't watched mainstream news in years. Not even for the weather anymore. I just don't even want to look at them at all. I don't even think they're telling the truth about that. I mean, you guys got to get it together. I'm telling you, because, this whole country, this whole nation is about to be under attack. You understand? And, people need to band together. It's, everything is all about division. When it comes to all this woke shit, everybody talking about they woke. Y'all ain't woke. Y'all don't even know what woke is. They always taking black people's vernacular and trying to make it into some other shit and take away the real meaning of it. Woke means in spiritual enlightenment. Woke means your third eye is open. Do you think that liberals' eyes are open? Do you think that their third eye is open? Do you think that they have discernment? I don't. They are all over the place and they are a mess, and they don't know if they're coming or going. And I don't care who liked that I said it. So with that being said, all the best to you. And I love y'all. I'll be back again. I hopefully with something more positive. I would tell y'all happy Thanksgiving, but you know how I feel about Thanksgiving, because you know what they did to indigenous people, and they thankful that they colonized us. That's what they're giving thanks for. So I have to just tell you, enjoy your time off for the colonizers' holidays. Enjoy your time off. And just have some discernment. I wish your family well for this winter. Hopefully it's not going to be a really cold winter for us here. Hopefully it's not going to be a bombed winter for us here, where everybody hate in America right now. I wish we could have peace on earth. I wish we could get rid of these people. I wish we could uplift the people that's going to fight for the Constitution and stop being stupid. Why wouldn't you want a patriot? What do you want instead of a patriot? Somebody that don't like America? Because that's what you got. Let me get the hell off of here because I'm getting so damn tight. All right, you guys, good night. Like, share, and subscribe. I am Shellie B, the adventures of a conservative Black sister surviving in a hot mess world, and it's a damn hot ass mess, and y'all letting it be a mess. Stop letting it be a mess. Good night. Good night.